Hello friends, this is Dilip and I am here today with a new topic, and the topic is the I Have It, a beautiful story written by Ruskin Bond. In this story, the whole journey is going through a train. The narrator feels astonished when he comes to know about the blindness of the girl, and the story is going through a passenger train. And in this story he exploited the situation originated between two people who meet by chance in a railway compartment. The young man and the girl are unaware of their individual blindness and converse with each other from the conviction that both of them can see. So we are here just to going to discuss about it with the story title. I am going to narrate this whole story. If you like it, please press the like button, and if you are new to here, please subscribe our channel for regular videos. So let's start with this story and begin the journey. I had the train compartment to myself up to Rohana. Then a girl got in. The couple who saw her off, probably her parents. They seemed very anxious about her comfort, and the woman gave the girl detailed instruction as to where to keep the things, when not to lean out of window, and how to avoid speaking to strangers. They called their goodbye and the train pulled out the station. As I was totally blind at time, my eye sensitivity only to light and darkness, I was unable to tell what the girl looked like. But I knew she wore slippers from the way they slapped against her heels. It would take me some time to discover something about her look, and perhaps I never would, but I like the sound of her voice and her sound of her slippers.
Are you going to Dara?
I must have been sitting in dark corner because my voice startled her. She gave a little exclaim and said,
Oh, I didn't know anyone else was here.
"Well, it often happens that people with good eyesight fail to see what is right in front of them. They have too much to take in suppose, whereas people who cannot see have taken it only essential, whatever resists most telling on their remaining sense."
I didn't see you either, but I heard you come in.
I wonder if I would be able to prevent her from discovering that I was blind. Provided I keep to my seat, I thought it shouldn't be too difficult.
I'm getting off at Saharanpur. My aunt is meeting me there.
Then I must not get familiar with you. Cause, you know,
Where are you going?
Dara and then to Mussoorie.
Oh, how lucky you are. I wish I were going to Mussoorie. I love the hills, especially in October.
Yes, the hills are covered with dahlias and the sun is delicious. And at night you can sit in front of the log fire and drink a little brandy. Most of the tourists have gone and the roads are deserted. October is the best time.
She was silent. I wonder if my words had touched her or whether she thought me a romantic fool. Then I made a mistake.
What is it like outside?
She seemed to find nothing strange in question. Had she noticed already that I could not see? But her next question removed my doubts.
Why don't you look out of the window?
I moved easily along the berth and felt for the window ledge. The window was opened and I faced it, making a pretense of studying the landscape. I heard the panting of the engine, the rumbling of the wheels, and my mind's eye I could see telegraph posts flashing by.
Have you noticed that the tree seems to be moving while we seem to be standing still?
That always happens. Do you see any animals?
No.
I knew that there were hardly any animals left in the forest near Dehra. I turned from the window and faced the girl, and for a while we sat in silence.
You have an interesting face.
It's nice to be told that I have an interesting face. I'm tired of people telling me I have a pretty face.
I was becoming quite daring, but it was a safe remark. Few girls can resist flattery. She laughed pleasantly, a clear, ringing laugh.
Oh, so you do have a pretty face. Well, an interesting face can also be pretty.
You are a very gallant young man. But why are you so serious?
I thought then I would try to laugh for her, but the thought of laughter only made me feel troubled and lonely.
Well, we'll be at your station soon.
Thank goodness it's a short journey. I can't bear to sit in a train for more than 2 or 3 hours.
She would forget our brief encounter, but it would stay with me for the rest of the journey and for some time after. Then the engine whistle said, the carriage wheels changed their sound and rhythm. The girl got up and began to collect her things. I wonder if she wore her hair in a bun, or if it was just plaited. Perhaps it was hanging loose over her shoulders, or was it cut very short? Train drew slowly into the station. Outside there was shouting of porters and vendors and a high-pitched female voice near the carriage. The voice must have belonged to the girl aunt.
Goodbye.
Yet I was prepared to sit there for almost any length of time, just to listen to her talking. Her voice had a sparkle of mountain stream as soon as she left the train. She was very close to me, so close that the perfume from her hair was tantalizing. I wanted to raise my hand and touch her hair, but she moved away. Only the scent of perfume still lingered where she had stood. There was some confusion in the doorway. A man getting into the compartment stammered an apology. Then the door banged and the world of this was shut out again. I returned to my berth. The guard blew his whistle and we moved up. Once again I had a game to play and a new fellow traveler. The train gathered speed. The wheels took up their song. The carriage groaned and shook. I found the window and sat in front of it, staring into the daylight that was darkness for me. So many things were happening outside the window. It could be a fascinating game guessing what went on outside. The man who had entered the compartment broke into my reverie.
You must be disappointed. I am not really as attractive travel companion as the one just left.
She was an interesting girl. Did she keep her hair short or long?
I don't remember. It was her eyes that I noticed, not her hair. She had beautiful eyes, but they were of no use to her. She was blind. Didn't you notice?